let's make some flower crowns for my sister's baby shower, walking into the Dollar Tree. This is the artificial flower selection that they have. And these are the bases that I purchased at the Dollar Tree as well. Just some headbands, super comfortable ones. I actually bought a bunch because they're really perfect. But I popped the flowers off the stems and then actually cut off the little nub that's on the back of each flower before I hot glued it on. And I started at the middle of the headband for each of the crowns, and then worked my way down on each side. And this first one that I'm making is actually for my sister, and I had a mix of pinks and hot pink and white that I mixed in for this flower crown. I wanted a variety of colors that were, incorporating this whole bloom theme for my sister's baby shower, but also wanted different textures too. So I spaced out the larger flowers actually on the headband, and then I ended up gluing flowers in between the headband, and I used a bunch of different textures for that, and you can see, so just put those together and actually shaped it on the headbands in between just to give a little bit more texture and depth and variety to the headband. Whenever I design anything, it's just because I'm a costume designer and wardrobe stylist too, and we're in such a very photocentric world and society. I always think of what's going to look best on camera, and especially for me when I'm making anything, I always think of that regardless of what the end product is. It's just sort of innate in me now. But yeah, I just wanted to add a little bit more texture, so I added these flowers in between the larger ones and worked my way down on both sides. Again, this was less than 24 hours to make 3 flower crowns, so I used hot glue. For any, if I was selling these or making these and had more time, I actually would use E6000, but it takes a lot longer for the crowns to dry. And then I'm just gluing the last couple ones on the crown and then just cutting off the backs, just sort of fit that in and work that in on both sides. But this one's actually for my little sister, and I just wanted to incorporate a little bit more flowers down the side of it, because she was just going to be wearing her hair down, and so no updo or anything, so just wanted this really fun big flower crown for her. So I'm just hot gluing on here, and I would say in total, probably each crown from beginning to end, it took me about an hour to make each one. But I'm a perfectionist, and so you can sort of see them shaping some of the flowers, and then see I'm cutting off the little nub and actually pulling off the little green piece that's on there. And then again too, if the flowers sort of start to fall apart because you're taking them apart, you can just hot glue them back together before you put them on the crown, which is what I did here. And just very carefully put it on so you're not burning your fingers. Of course, I did burn my fingers a few times. It's pretty much unavoidable if you're using hot glue, unless you're wearing gloves. I don't like to wear gloves when I work. Sometimes I don't even wear gloves when I dye fabric, which is definitely not good. I just really like to be able to feel things, and sometimes you lose the ability to feel what you're working on if you are wearing gloves. So this is it. And then I actually added flowers on the front and back to make it so that it could actually be worn either way. Because, again, when you're wearing a flower crown, someone sees it from the front, but someone's going to see it from the back too. So I wanted to make it interesting and cohesive from front to back. And so I just sort of placed the same flowers that were in the front on the back, but just in a different pattern. And then these two, in nature, no flower is ever going to look the same. Obviously, with artificial flowers, they do. So that's why I like to incorporate different flowers on a crown, just because, again, in nature, nothing's going to be the same. So this is just the final of the floral crown for her. I'm really happy with the way it turned out. It worked with her outfit, and then it also worked with the theme of the baby shower, as well as my twin sister's dress for the baby shower too. If I had more time, I probably would have built it up a little bit higher, but just because this was for my sister and just something for a baby shower, we kept it pretty conservative on the end of the flower crown, but I really want to remake that one and make like a huge flower crown. And so now I'm starting the flower crown for myself, and you can see I'm popping off those green ends, and I'm actually cutting off the stems. Honestly, this is how I like to make flower crowns, artificial flower crowns. I never learned how to do this, although like there are a lot of random jobs that I've done on the wardrobing and costuming side of things where I have had to make flower crowns and headpieces. And I did actually train with some of the best people that design and make costume headpieces in Vegas. They're considered more like craft artisans, and there are different techniques for that. A lot of that is with more feathers rather than flowers. But yeah, so again, used a very basic hot glue gun. I'm actually currently staying with family in the Midwest, so my normal like tools and professional hot glue gun that I actually had that I used for years, I lost in the fires in LA. I was living in Pasadena and actually lost my space that was in Altadena from the fires. So sort of having to like restart everything and, you know, get my tools, you know, reworked and whatnot. So I was actually using a family friend's hot glue gun, and I believe they got theirs at Michael's. But Michael's has great hot glue guns. I mean, you can get them on Amazon, but I recommend doing a Michael's trip. Joann's, they're going out of business. I'm not sure how many hot glue guns they have left. Walmart has hot glue guns too. I'm sort of in an area of the Midwest outside of Chicago, like in between Milwaukee and Chicago, where there's not really a lot of options for crafts. And so it's really going to be Amazon, Michael's, or Walmart. And so now I'm adding in the flowers in between my flowers. I wanted more of like a tropical headpiece for my look because I was really rocking this more tropical floral look for the baby shower, and I love like aloha, like tiki style anyways. It's just like one of my favorite things, and I used to have a tropical tiki brand as well. And so now I'm just sort of adding more flowers on here, adding in the different colors too. I wanted to incorporate some cream as well as some pinks in here too, because my dress did have cream in it, little pop of coral, little pop of pink, and mine was more elaborate and eclectic than my sister's, but it was more reflective of like how I wanted to style myself and like really go out there with the look. And I actually really want to revisit this headpiece and make it as like a proper crown where it just lays on the head instead of a headband, and then maybe even make a larger headpiece for a photo shoot or something fun. I'm actually working on a smaller version for one of my dogs. She's sadly terminal right now, so I'm gonna do a floral crown photo shoot with her in the next coming weeks. I just, you know, she's my baby. She just turned 14 and just want to, you know, do a photo shoot with her. And then I'm gluing the last few bits of flowers on here and like really making sure that like there's no stringies of hot glue and just like keeping things really clean. Whenever you use hot glue, you have to be really cognizant of like the stringies. See how you could see that? And so I'm just basically going back through and making sure you can't see any hot glue. There's no hot glue stringies. For me, that is like such a pet peeve, like, and it's actually why I do not like working with hot glue, but you know, quick turnarounds, you don't have a choice. And there you go, that's my sister's headpiece, and then there's me at the event, makeup done, look, really happy with the way that this turned out. There's my look, there I am again with my cousin, and then there's my sisters and I at the baby shower.